Chapter 96. Alex was now furious. "Do you think you can get out of this by not talking, fatso? I'll have you know, this is Horus. Don't you know that the people in this room are all just as powerful within this area? They can have you die in a ditch as long as they say so. I'd advise you to tell us the truth this instant, otherwise, you won't even be able to save yourself." Faria knew that Alex was trying to manipulate him, hence, she put on a stern expression and played along. "The Adair family is fairly powerful. If anyone intends to scam any of us, we will surely teach him a good lesson. After all, if we were to spare them, our reputation in the public's eyes would certainly be damaged." The fat man was shocked to his core. He knew that the Adairs indeed held extreme power in this area. If he were to piss Faria Adair off, he would surely die in Horus. Panicking, he turned to Tony in desperation. "Tony, help me out. This isn't what we agreed on." Tony's facial expression changed. "You? What are you talking about? Scamming the Adairs and wanting to put the blame on me? I'll kill you." Pulling a dagger from his pocket, Tony's stare was cold and chilling as he rushed toward the fat man's direction. The fat man glared at him. "Fuck, you backstabbing bastard. You were the one who told me the Adairs trusted your appraising abilities fully. You were the one who said this piece of shit would be sold as long as you said so. You framed me." Faria stared at the two coldly as they fought before turning toward Alex. "Please excuse me, Mr. Anderson. Thank you for accompanying me here. Let's leave now. My family will send someone here to clean up this mess." Alex nodded. "Okay, let's go then." The two stood up and prepared to depart. As Faria walked out of the lobby, Tony groveled at her feet, visibly terrified. He didn't even bother trying to kill the fat man anymore. "Miss, please spare me. For the sake of all the years that I have served your family, please just spare me this one time." Before Faria could respond, Chris stood up and scoffed. "Ha, do you have a death wish, you old fart? You wanted to scam me, and you wanted to scam your master. Even wanting to scam as much as $2 to $3 billion. Do you really think the Adairs will spare you?" Tony's face drained of color and he froze in shock, paralyzed on the ground. Chris then added, "Even if they did, Chris Tyler will never let you off this easily." Tony immediately broke down into tears as his body fell to the ground. At the sight of this mess, Faria shook her head in disappointment. "Pardon me, Mr. Anderson. It was our mistake to have hired such an incompetent bastard. How embarrassing." Alex replied, "There's always darkness as long as there is light. You don't have to blame yourself, Miss Adair." Right then, Chris and Tim, who were from Lancaster, walked out of the lobby, followed by Matthew from the Lane family in Horus. Upon seeing Alex, Chris rushed up to him and grabbed his hands, pumping it up and down. "Thanks to you, Mr. Anderson, I've avoided being scammed by that bastard." Ashamed, Tim, who was standing next to him, exclaimed, "Mr. Anderson is certainly a prodigy. I truly didn't notice that they had made any changes to the Jade at all. I am very much ashamed of myself." Matthew then saluted him as well. "This is all thanks to you, Mr. Anderson. If it weren't for you, the three of us would be at each other's necks to bid on this foe. Not only would we be sustaining a huge loss, but our family's reputation would also be at risk." Alex smiled. "Don't sweat it. I was invited by Miss Adair to appraise the Jade anyway. I was just doing my job." After having a short and polite conversation, Alex and Faria then got into the car, and the garden reverted to its tranquil state. As they were leaving, Alex noticed that there were a few men who were dressed in black attire that rushed in. It would seem that Tony and the fat man's fate had been decided.